thank you so much. After an amazing session by Dr. Park, and also prior to that, I would like to take you something like how we are kind of like through science, we are bridging the community, basically how we are bridging the gap within the community, sorry. So, and how we are doing it globally. And as earlier also I had presented, so as much as we are so much into research, but it's also important that how we are translating the information within our community and with a sustainable model. And that's what through Breast Cancer Hub we are trying to do, because it's not only about the early detection of cancer, but also it's about inaccessibility to healthcare facilities, proper diagnosis and treatment management. So these were the main reasons why I resigned in 2017 from UNCC to start Breast Cancer Hub as a full-time pro bono volunteer organization. So everything we do is 100% free, and anyone needing any support and help can definitely reach out to us, and we'll try to do our best to help and serve. So saying that, of course, the statistics was also mentioned earlier about the male breast cancer scenario. But as we know, according to the ACS, 1 out of 833 men can get breast cancer in their lifetime. But unfortunately, also the death rate is pretty high, and especially I want to talk more about the developing world. In the developing countries where like I work in the USA, Africa, Turkey, and India, and globally through our hybrid model, but we have primary teams over there. And most of the time with men, the scenario is worse than women, because men feel it's a woman's disease and they are more shy to talk about it. And of course, we do not have a screening protocol for men. And that's where I feel that, it's important that we kind of work towards changing the healthcare policies within the USA itself to come up with certain screening protocol for men, so that, when they go to the doctors are actually doing their clinical breast exam, because breast cancer, when detected early and treated accurately, it is curable. But do we have enough screening processes? And earlier, of course, the screening processes were mentioned. That was mammogram, which is for the women after the age of 40. And nowadays the mammogram has become redundant. We are trying to do 3D mammogram for a better resolution, in addition to ultrasound if you have dense breast. And also, Dr. Patel mentioned about the breast MRI. But one important thing, and I would like to request to our male community, is that when we go to our doctors, like for our physical checkup, which comes yearly, please speak to your doctor. I tell my husband, please ask your doctor to do the clinical breast exam on you, because this is still not being taken into consideration when we are going for our, like the physical, like it's being done for us in the women, it needs to be done on the men too, because it's very important. So I would request even our male breast cancer fraternity, you have family members, you have siblings, please ask them when they go for their physical, the doctor needs to check their breast, because clinical breast exam is very, very important once a year. But apart from clinical breast exam, of course, as we all made the card together, this is the beautiful breast self exam card, and we have it for the first time for men. It's all due respect to, earlier it was MBCC, so that's why we have the logo in there. And I don't think this could have happened without the support of Peggy over here. So thank you, Peggy. And without the support of Sarah Cannon Cancer Institute. So as we made this card, it was very important for the men, because especially even in the US, when I'm going for the community outreaches, I find it very difficult to convince the men, because it's really an eye-opening thing. Even in Charlotte, for example, when I was trying to post all about male breast cancers, when I started this organization in 2017, hardly our community in Charlotte were aware about male breast cancer. Like almost like 70 to 80% of the men did not even know. So it was very it's an eye-opening scenario with the male breast cancer, and hardly, even though they know, they are not practicing the breast self-examination. And what is the correct protocol to do it? You will find it on the website. So, but definitely, like under the arm area is very important, because we have the lymph nodes over there, then under the collarbone, around the collarbone area, and of course the nipple area. And as Dr. Patel had earlier mentioned, any discharge from the nipple, any redness, any concerns, means any abnormality. So we have to understand the look and feel of our breast to detect any abnormality. So that is the most important thing, is that we have to start the breast self-examination from the age of 17 or 18. And that's what I tell everyone. And Brett, you always inspire me on this, because I remember you felt the lump very young. So usually the protocol is that, at the age of 25, 30, you have to do the breast self exam. But wherever I go, I always say that 17 or 18 years, we need to start to do that, because, I know men who have had felt the lump very early on. So that is very, very important. Then what is most important is that we did with in collaboration is in the local languages, because we have the breast self exam card now in 24 languages, and you can see all the pink ones that is highlighted here. These were done by the MBCC at that time, and the blue ones with the local languages, this was done by our breast cancer hub volunteers. And I'm so grateful to the BCH volunteers who had helped us, for the translation from scratch. Now, the reason why I want to bring this up is that when, as I said, I work in the developing world. Over there, it is not easy when I convey to the people that please go and do a mammogram, please go and do an ultrasound if you're feeling. So what happens is that is the financial condition, though, and hardly the insurance coverage is not even, we can't even think of insurance over there, because it's only like a 3 to 4% people, because they work in the different corporate sectors and they'll be insured. So we have to come up with certain simple solutions, and that's where the BSc card works like a magic, and you can see that how even in the remotest areas, when I'm talking about the breast self exam and involving the men all the time, and you can see here the men are also trying to practice the BSc. So I was very proud of this man, but I'm telling you, because of this practice, what is happening is men reach out to me, but unfortunately, even now, when I'm trying to navigate them towards the healthcare resources, and I talk about the male breast cancer support groups, but still there is the stigma, they do not want to be associated with the support group, because they feel that they are scared that others will get to know. So every step is a hurdle for me, but there are men who are really brave, and they come forward too. And that's how they encourage and motivate others. So as you can see that how we are working is, we are definitely giving out the breast self examination card, but do you think that this will be enough? So what we do is taking accountability. So I have my WhatsApp number given to everyone. Even if I'm going to the urban sectors, I'll give my WhatsApp number, because not everyone will have email access. And when I'm going to the remotest areas, so even if the villagers do not have the phone, but the village head will have the phone, so they will call me, and middle of the night. So I have to understand the local resources over there. So first thing that we do is collaborate with the local healthcare system, whether they are providing the services for the underprivileged sectors, whether they have the government schemes. And when we have that in place, and I can navigate them, and that's how I know that they're getting the services or not. And I always follow up with them with the phone call through the WhatsApp, because WhatsApp is free, so it helps me a lot. But simultaneously, in the US, these are the programs that I'm running, and which is so much helping our community, because I feel that things should start from the youth sector itself. So the educational sectors, and I would plead that those who are our male breast cancer advocates, maybe you can, because you all are the inspiration, so many schools and colleges and all the educational sectors are where I'm trying to target. And because I have volunteers from all across spread out, and when the boys, the men, they are all youth, they are in the undergrad doing. So look at this young man, he's probably like 19 or 20, and this girl, I teach the students, I tell them what, and you can see the blue over here, our breast self exam card, and then she is explaining, and he's also trying to understand. And because these are the things I feel that an impactful change needs to be done in the society, because if I hadn't gone to those areas, trust me, they never even would know about male breast cancer scenario. Because whenever we are thinking of breast cancer, we are always thinking of pink all the time. And that's why whenever I'm going there, I give them this wristband, and you can see that it has the blue in there, because I always say that men get breast cancer too, along with the pink and also the purple, to support all cancers, all genders. So I think the small things make a difference, and all the youth, they love it. Then also going to the underserved sector. So basically, I go to the shelters, talk to the men, and all, of course, the women too, but I'm also focusing more on the men equally, because I feel that is where the changes needs to be done. And these are the different ways, creative model. For example, over here, when we had this Easter, we had the Easter egg, and I told my students that, try to tell the people, those who are coming to support breast cancer, they can draw the ribbon pink, but they should have a touch of blue in there. So these are the small things, which makes a huge difference, because that's where the awareness starts. Similarly, globally, of course, Africa and Turkey, but also through the hybrid model that we are trying to bring the changes. Now, I want to bring a little bit up here about what happens within the villages. Like, for example, when I have been going and doing the outreaches all across, so this is one of the villages in southern Assam in India, and you can see this girl, after my awareness session, she started to cry, and she said, "Why didn't you come to my village last year? My mother just died." And when she said that, that's when we decided that we will start the program for the village adoption. So going door to door and taking care of every patient. And that's where we realized that these villagers, they didn't even know, they didn't have any income certificate, they were daily wage earners. And I built a team from within the village themselves, so that it builds the trust. And also, they are the only population, my team in the villages, who get the remuneration from Breast Cancer Hub, because they themselves are below poverty line. Otherwise, it will be exploitation. Otherwise, everyone else, we all are volunteers. So this team are beautifully, they're executing. That's when we realized that it was not so easy. Even if we had told them that a person may have a lump in the breast, or they would come up with complaints of cervical cancer, colon cancer. So we couldn't stay aloof, so we had to diversify and build Breast Cancer Hub wings, different cancer hubs. But then the challenge was that they would say, there's no one to take us to the hospital. We need food. So we had to do a holistic approach. And from, taking them to the hospital, staying with them, generating the income certificate till the government scheme comes in, then paying the necessary, medications, everything we do. And that's how I'm so proud of this, our teams all across. And we have adopted now 20 villages all across India. We work in the Africa region also, like Sierra Leone. But here in India, we can see that the places where we penetrated from zero awareness. And then the most beautiful part is that everyone knows about male breast cancer now. So that way, it built a lot of confidence in the women, because when the women know that, men get breast cancer too, they are no more shy to talk about it. And now, even if a male will feel a small lump, they will come and reach out to our team. So that's where I think, eradicating the stigma, that was so important. And I could not have done this without the support of the male breast cancer scenario, because that helped them to open up. And from zero awareness, 100% awareness, and since our penetration, no late detection, those who did not even know the word cancer, now they are all aware. Now, similarly, I also want to discuss a little bit about, because when we talk about any web, presentation or seminar, is of course the research is giving us all the high-end technologies, but also it's important that not only the awareness standpoint, but taking care end to end, right? So what happens to the caregivers, or what happens to them, from the support system? Because the full, when someone is detected, the breach is shaking. We need to give support from all angles. And that's what, male breast cancer happens is doing now. So always, giving that support and moral strength. But unfortunately, not every places where I go, they do not want to, as I said, they do not want to come out of that shell, or they do not even have internet to even get connected to the people. So that's where, you can see over here, this was he's a male breast cancer patient. And what we do is we try to go to them as a team in the different places that we work, Africa, India, or even in the US also. But US also, I recently knew a man, and I mentioned about Brett, but he didn't want to get in touch. He was were still in a cocoon, you know. So, but then what we try to do is I try to build that trust, and we try to take care of them. So in a holistic way, being there for them, because many times in the areas I work, cancer is also known as contagious, because they do not want to, they do not even want, like, they live in isolation. So that is another taboo that we have to always break down. So now here, another concept that I started was the bravest hero ever. And you can see, like, for the first time, a man 70+ year old, he just finished his treatment, we just gave him this award. So this man is an ideal for everyone in that small town in India. So how we are trying to do it is, he is going to now inspire others. So that is where I feel that it makes a huge difference. I also want to mention here that we also have a care package that we are making, our volunteers are making, you know, everything we give out free. And when we have this care package, if you know man who has just gone through your surgery, please let me know. And then this is a pillow, heart-shaped pillow, and you can actually insert an ice pack or heat pack, and you can put it under your arm. You know, this is very helpful during the healing process. Now, the reason why I'm showing this, because when our volunteers started the project in 2022 April, the first thing that they were saying is everything has to be pink. And let's see what is the color of this. So basically, we have it in all different colors, mainly the blue shade, but not everything is about pink. So, and then we also have the chemoport seatbelt pillow. You can see this, and this goes for any type of cancer. So when we have chemotherapy and we need a port, you know, so when we wear the seatbelt, it is really very difficult for the patient. So we made this so that, you know, it's helpful. And we have very soft, and you can see this is also another color, which is not pink. So we have very soft chemo heads too. So if anyone, you know, needs any of this, Peggy, I just wanted to let you know that, you know, I'll ship everything, and so that you can give it out to our male breast cancer patients who have gone through surgery, gone through chemotherapy, if you need the chemo heads or if you need the seatbelt pillow. And I owe it to all our volunteers. You can see that the stitching goes on in parallel every month. So we provide the raw materials, but many times they have their own raw materials. So it's the beauty of, you know, how people are connecting to Breast Cancer Hub, and that's how we are sustaining. So now a little bit about the research part, because being a hardcore researcher, like when Dr. Park was mentioning all of that, I felt like I went back to my previous life when I was doing all this molecular level research. But now the research is also at the grassroots, trying to work towards changing the healthcare policies. So basically working towards the epidemiology study, clinical data analysis. And that's where, you know, like I wanted to reiterate over here that we also work with the LGBTQ plus community. So here, because the transgender community also needs our acceptance. And that's where now the other area of focus is, in addition to the focus on male breast cancer. And then the other important thing that we are trying to do is we publish the research articles on our website, which is in very, in layman terms, you know, very simple language. So please leverage the resources that is available under the research on Breast Cancer Hub, so that, you know, you can, when diagnosed with cancer, it's a big term. And also, like, you know, what are the different treatment protocols? So we tried to compile everything in simple words. Now, before going into, so here with our results of epidemiology study, this is what we have seen. And this is mainly the data from the 20 villages we adopted. We have done screening for approximately 20,000 individuals. And what we saw is that the project started in 2020 in February. So now we found that only less than 1% of them were aware about male breast cancer. So everyone, because we have the data, they said they are not even aware about the male breast cancer. So just imagine, we could directly have an impact on these individuals. And of course, when I'm doing the outreaches globally, that definitely they are getting to know every day. So we have probably hundreds and hundreds of thousands of population we could reach out because of our about the male breast cancer scenario. Now, this is a research that is not as high-end as Dr. Park mentioned, but this research, because as I said, my focus has changed now. I want to work towards making changes which are retrospective too. So this particular research was published, we were invited for the poster presentation at the medical school, and I think it was the Western Michigan University, the School of Medicine, and it was a very proud moment for all of us. And this actually, and you can see all our co-authors over there on the paper, on the poster, and we are trying to make it into a paper soon. Now, what was the strategy for that? So this the method was that, so from Breast Cancer Hub, our research is IRB USA approved. So what I did was I wanted to understand like what is actually going on within our male breast cancer community. So I built a questionnaire, trying to understand like the grade on diagnosis. So what was the grade of the breast cancer patient during diagnosis? What stage was the person diagnosed? Then also what is the different lifestyles, what was happening? So when I had the questionnaire, I sent it to Peggy and Cherry and Patricia at that time. So Peggy, she circulated among the MBCC men. That was like 1 or 2 years back. And then that was the data from which me and my student Kavya, she actually is a research scholar for Breast Cancer Hub. We analyzed it, everything. And then that's where we found out very interesting results. And what was the result about? So what we found out was that, we couldn't get a huge number of population to take the survey. We had, I think, 48 of our male breast cancer advocates who took the survey, but we could, MBCC had provided us the data of 71 individuals, is written over here. They had provided 74 individuals who had passed away from male breast cancer. From there also, we tried to retrieve whatever we could, the information. But of all of that, what we found out was that, like almost 63, so the total population we had was 122, and what we realized was that we reported was that 63.1%, with almost 63% are no more there. So we lost them, and the others are still fighting. But the distribution stage, most interesting thing that I want to tell you over here is that most of the time, as even earlier speakers had mentioned, and this is what we have also seen, that the diagnosis at the stage at which the person was diagnosed was mostly at the advanced stage. So only 24% were diagnosed at early stage, and at stage 3 was 20%, and at stage 4 was 56%. So this is an eye-opening scenario which needs to be addressed. I'm talking about the most developed place in the world, which is the US. Just imagine if in US we are seeing this kind of data, what are we expecting in the other parts of the world? The other important thing that we discovered was that the grade of the tumor, usually with the young population or mostly with breast cancer, the grade of the tumor that we see with the females are grade 3, right? But here, an interesting fact was 41% from the, and we could retrieve this data only from n equal to 34, those who knew about that grade. So that was the challenge that we faced, that we couldn't get as much of information because probably our male breast cancer advocates did not know about all of this scenario. But whatever we got, we retrieved that 41% were grade 1, so which was good, and grade 2 was 44%, and grade 3, that means the most aggressive type tumor, was 14%. Then you can think over here that if such huge population was grade 1 and grade 2, why mostly it was diagnosed as stage 4 or advanced stage, which means that, the tumor, the cancer was there for a prolonged time, and grade 1 means when the tumor grows very slowly, grade 2 is intermediate, and grade 3 is the aggressive type. That means it takes time for the progression from early stage to late stage, but that means the tumor was there, but it went unaddressed. So this is so important, and that's where we need to go for more screening, because we do not have any breast cancer screening for men. And I know that we say that the statistics is low. No, it is increasing. And I always say that even though it's 1 out of 833 men, that man is a father, a brother, or the son of the family. So how can we ignore that? And other interesting factors that we saw was that many were genetically, they had the mutation also running in the gene, but also another important thing was the BMI. Lot of times the body mass index was pretty high for this population in men. So this, and also many had the chronic inflammatory conditions too. So I want to just highlight over here that we figured out so many interesting facts. I wish we had more data that may more interesting facts would have come up, but whatever has come out is really, really interesting. And we are very excited to publish it as a paper, in the future, because which is going to help our men so much, because this will be an advocacy towards pushing more and more for the early detection through the screening protocol and changing the healthcare policy in the US. So this is something that I wanted to mention over here. This was the research data that we had the poster presentation this year in the month of May. Now coming to the key risk factors, and I know Dr. Patel had mentioned all of that, but just want to brief little bit because I think I'll just take 5 more minutes. So what happened over here is that whenever we run any genetic test within, any genetic mutation within a family, sister having ovarian cancer or breast cancer, we always ignore the men. So I would request that, the mutations are equally carried, like 50% of it is also carried by the offspring who can be the sons of the family. So please go through the genetic test panel, because they are not only prone to breast cancer, but prostate cancer, digestive tract, pancreatic, and other types of cancers. And we always look into the BRCA mutation, but we shouldn't restrict ourselves to BRCA mutation alone. We have to do the full panel, because there's many mutations, they can be the promoters for the signaling pathway for other types of cancers within the body. And that's why it's important that we look into the full genetic panel, and we do not, and instead of just focusing on the BRCA mutation. And these are the different other risk factors for male breast cancer. Because of shortness of time, I wouldn't go into much of that, but the important part is that, of course, the family history, but also, the radiation exposure, the environment we are working in, then some consumption of alcohol shouldn't become a habit for us. And tobacco, though we do not say it, but of course, smoking plays an important role with the breast cancer scenario. It's a risk factor. There are certain liver diseases which can contribute to, hormonal treatments can contribute, especially with the transgender community. We see that I'm working with 2 patients from India, and they are, trans women, and all because of the hormones that they have taken. Now, then also, of course, obesity, then certain testicular, conditions, and the other doctors previously had mentioned about the gynecomastia. And also there are other 2, syndromes, which are the Klinefelter syndrome and the Cowden syndrome, that can also lead to a high risk for the male breast cancer. Now, I'm not going into the inflammation thing, but just an overview of what can be the risk factors. Of course, the tobacco, but I know others have covered other things, but I just, being my forte as inflammation, I just want to mention that if you have any chronic inflammatory condition in your body, arthritis or any other chronic conditions, please do not ignore that, because inflammation is not only about COVID and inflammation, it's about cancer too. Inflammation helps with the prognosis, progression of cancer. So what happens is, when we have breast cancer and if we have arthritis, there's huge inflammatory cytokines, like pro-inflammatory cytokines, which are upregulated, and it acts like a lock and key mechanism, and the tumor cells have certain receptors which are, attracted towards certain molecules within the inflammatory condition, and they will travel faster to those organs. So apart from that, any inflammation in the body, if you're having it, please try to curtail the inflammation, because it will really help also with the cancer scenario. So that is something that I don't know if it was covered earlier by the other professionals, but I just wanted to mention that. And rest of the things, of course, I know has been covered. And food definitely plays a significant role, because there are free radicals generated in our body, and these free radicals go and damage the DNA of the cells. And DNA, as we know, that is the unit of life. Any changes in the DNA, there's always a repair mechanism within our body. But if we give unhealthy food to the body, if we have a bad lifestyle, so endogenously, all our antioxidants exhaust, and then the free radicals are more. So that's when we need to provide the body like a proper lifestyle, in the sense that, exercise, meditation, good food. They will donate the electrons which from the antioxidant, and that free radical is no more free available to go. So it will balance the free radical. It's not available then to go and damage the DNA of the cell. So everything is connected. That's what I want to say. It's an interdisciplinary effect, and diet plays a significant role. Saying that like turmeric, the fresh turmeric, fresh ginger, fresh garlic, rich in antioxidant and anti-inflammatory agent. But that doesn't mean that if we have cancer, we are going to have so much of turmeric. Then I always say no Indians would have had cancer because we have turmeric, we are known as turmeric people and have in our diet. But that doesn't mean that turmeric is not good. So it basically rich in antioxidant and all these things. Diet plays a significant role with our repair mechanism within our body. So this is and about the Camp Lejeune, I think we all know because about the Camp Lejeune scenario. So I'm not going to discuss any more of this, but I wanted to just mention that about the male breast cancer, that I think what I see everywhere in the month of October is all about pink. But now we have, at least wherever I am going or within our Charlotte community or wherever we are having events, we have been able to bring changes by putting in blue in there because we want to respect the man. And I wish that everyone even thinks the same way and feels the same way. We always have pink. Of course, pink represents female breast cancer, but I always have a touch of blue also in there because it is so important. And that's where everyone has to come together. And also, like when I started this organization, a lot of people asked me, like, how do you differentiate? And I always say, why do we have to differentiate? We have to come together because we are fighting for a bigger cause, the cause of cancer. And that's the reason why we could actually be, regarding the male breast cancer scenario, I could do so much. And even the poster presentation, because I was able to avail the data that was given to me by the male breast cancer organization. So I'm so thankful to Peggy, Brett, Bob, and the organizing team of Male Breast Cancer Happens over here for organizing this webinar, which is so wonderful. And also I want to thank all the men who participated in the survey, because without you, we could not have done this. And I really feel that more men should be very proactive on taking the research, the survey if requested, because it will go, I don't know if we realize how invaluable your responses are. Because of your responses, we are able to present it in a poster, which is eye-opening because people are listening to us, because people will listen when they see data. And that data we cannot get without the support of the male breast cancer patients, survivors, or advocates. So saying that, I would like to really thank each of you. Thank you, Cherry, for being there, Christina, and everyone who is here today. And thank you, Brett and Peggy, for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Lopa, thank you for that presentation. Very informative. So much information, and we appreciate you for everything that you do and always including us men in your speaking and stuff. So it's very appreciative when you do that. So I don't know if anybody on here has any questions. We want to.
And Lope, I can just tell you, your discovery and about the inflammatory and the arthritis has helped so many of our men by them having that knowledge. So
thank you. Thank
you so much.
Sherry, do you have something?
Yes, well, thank you, Sister Roy here. Oh my gosh, going all over the world. I find it like amazing the different challenges that you're coming up against. I had a question. Culturally, I got somebody reached out to me from India with the young ladies that did not want to have a lumpectomy nor mastectomy because then they would not be marriageable.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so when I sent, I don't know at the time, like maybe 25, 30 recovery shirts, I said, this is a hug from your American sisters. Please get your surgeries. And we find men that have a soul that love you for whom you are. So you have a cultural hiccup there that's deep inside. So I hear very clearly that you are speaking to young people.
Yeah.
And that is really, I think, the only way to break through, in my opinion. Yeah. Because some of them are so steeped in their ways, you cannot
Yeah.
It's harder. It's harder. It takes a long time, right? So I
Yeah.
just want to commend you. Congratulations. It's like a speed dial of the brain when I'm listening to you. And I mean, there's so many beautiful outreach ministries that you're having. I'm maybe offline we can talk about your products that your ladies are making.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, and then how do you you should accept payment for products and then help the nonprofit, you know? So anyways, I'm a business lady. I'm done. I
Smart.
just love, yeah, I just really believe entrepreneurs need to be rewarded. You know me, same old song, same to
You're
and
right.
I just God bless you for your work.
Thank
And
you,
I'm
Carrie.
so honored to be in your life circle, and it's all because of Brett and Peggy and Bob. So I am
All of
blessed.
us together are doing this because
Yeah.
together we will change the world, right, people?
Mhm.
It's what
Thank
it
you. Thank you,
takes.
Carrie. It's
Well,
always
thank you for all your
inspiring.
time. We
Thank you.
appreciate it.